Welcome, students of the Force, back to the channel. In episode 2 of the Kenobi series, we saw a homeless clone trooper begging on the street that Obi-Wan ultimately gave some credits to. Upon observing the markings of his armor, it is clear that he is a trooper of the 501st Legion. This starts to fill our heads with questions such as, what happened to the 501st Legion following the Clone Wars? The Clone Wars TV series dived into this topic quite a few times, with many clones speculating and asking the question of what will happen to them after the Clone Wars is over. This idea would be further explored in the episode known as The Deserter, when Rex is injured and taken in by Clone Trooper Cut, a clone deserter who found a new life on the home of Felucia. The Bad Batch also dives heavily into this topic, with one of the main focuses of the latter half of Season 1 being about the Empire replacing the clone troopers within their ranks, and introducing more naturally birthed human beings. Interestingly enough, almost all of the clones were replaced in the Empire except for the 501st Legion, the Legion that Anakin Skywalker directly led during the Clone Wars. In Legends continuity, Vader made sure to keep his personal clone battalion close at hand, as their loyalty and efficiency was something that Vader knew he couldn't possibly replace. Vader would eventually make them into what is known as the 1st Legion of the Stormtrooper Corps, and handpick them to be his personal guard. This group would soon earn the moniker of Vader's Fist, and were present for many prevalent battles of the Galactic Civil War, including the raid on Tantive 4, the Battle of Hoth, as well as even the Battle of Endor. However, what were their missions like immediately following Order 66, and what were some of the first missions with Vader and the 501st like under the newly established Empire? Well, today, students of the Force, we are going to answer that question, and answer what the first missions of the 501st and Vader were really like. The Grand Army of the Republic as a whole were dispatched almost immediately following the announcement of the end of the Clone Wars and the rebranding of the Republic into the Galactic Empire. A great many clone battalions were sent far and wide to the outer systems in order to subdue, silence, or shut down any remaining Confederate systems or sects. The Separatists had just lost all of their major leaders after the deaths of Dooku, Nute Gunray, Wat Tambor, and the other Separatist leaders present on Mustafar, who were all butchered by Anakin Skywalker. This left the CIS in a very precarious situation. Many systems like that of Raxus that we see in the Bad Batch were oppressed and bullied into surrendering fealty to the new Empire. Those that did not follow this not-so-optional suggestion were made into an example. This is where many of the clone battalions, including the 501st, would have occupied much of their initial time. Though it wouldn't be long before Vader rose from the operating table and had his troops take up arms once again by his side. Vader hand-selected ARC troopers and clone commandos to create a special forces unit attachment to the 501st called the Imperial Commando Special Unit, which was to assist him in hunting Jedi as well as other tasks that he deemed necessary of his presence. The very first time that the 501st unit would return to battle would be on the world of Kessel. Here, Vader would be lured into a trap by a small conclave of 8 Jedi that had planned to ambush and kill the Sith Lord. He had been baited there under the false pretenses that Obi-Wan Kenobi was to be among the Jedi in this group. After slaughtering 5 of the Jedi there, Vader was left heavily damaged, and the other 3 remaining Jedi nearly triumphed before the 501st managed to show up just in time and swiftly gunned down the remaining 3 Jedi that raised their sabers to Vader. For more information about this story, I highly recommend reading the comic Darth Vader, Purge. The next notable battle that the 501st would appear in would be on the world of New Plimto. On this planet, Jedi Master Das Janir had escaped Order 66 and negotiated with the Separatists, who were actually on the planet themselves, making a last stand against the Empire. The Nosarians of New Plimto accepted the Jedi to their cause, and he was made into their general. The 501st overran the Nosarian forces and killed almost every last one of them, with the Jedi Das Janir and one other escaping out of pure luck. Back on Coruscant, Darth Vader contacted Commander Veal, and the commander asked Vader what had happened to him and his men after the war. Vader dodged the question and said that they'd discuss it upon his return to Coruscant, to which Veal replied that they wouldn't be coming back to Coruscant, dropping the bomb on Vader that they were taking the women and youngling civilians of New Plimto to the slave market in order to be sold for profit by the Empire, a bit of information that did not sit easily with Lord Vader. The next place that the 501st were directly sent after this was the Martynas, where they followed Lord Vader to a group of clone deserters that had refused to execute Order 66, as Vader made it one of his personal goals post the rise of the Empire to hunt down any clone deserters that did not follow this crucial order. Keep in mind that at the time of this story's publication, it hadn't yet been decided that the inhibitor chips forced the clone troopers to carry out Order 66, and this was left more up to their free will. In these Legends continuities, Order 66 was something that was ordered for the clones to do, and as a result of this, many clones actually refused. This battalion of clone troopers was one of them, and Darth Vader opted to personally kill many of them, with the rest of them arrested, ultimately facing capital Imperial punishment. And that finally brings us to the fourth, and one of the most notable Imperial excursions, which was the return to Kashyyyk that the 501st was directly involved with, in the first year of the establishment of the Empire. This would also mark the largest battle of the Imperial 501st, or the First Legion. This would be one of the first times that Vader had to work directly with Grand Moff Tarkin, whose agenda for Kashyyyk was quite different than the Dark Lord's. At this point in time, Vader was far more interested in a small group of Jedi that were reportedly outposted on the world. As Vader went to deal with the Jedi, Tarkin had ordered the 501st to crush all Wookiee resistance and capture as many Wookiees as possible. The idea behind this is Tarkin wanted to enslave as many Wookiees as possible in order to assist him in the creation of the Death Star project. As the Wookiees were incredible workers, in the end, a Jedi ended up decapitating Commander Oppo, who was one of the primary members of the 501st Legion. Vader destroyed all Jedi on the world of Kashyyyk, and Tarkin acquired tens of thousands of Wookiee slaves. This excursion was a major win for the Empire, and one of the most prominent moments in the blooming Empire's reign, directly resulting in the 501st being held with even greater esteem among the Empire. In the future, despite many clone troopers being cast aside for more naturally born individuals, Vader's fist was always feared and respected among their ranks. The Battle of Kashyyyk was hugely important not only for the 501st, but with Vader. This was the battle that Vader had finally found himself in a personal way, and had fully connected with his mechanical armor. And this was the battle that, in Legends continuity, got broadcasted on the HoloNet, introducing the galaxy and Obi-Wan Kenobi on the world of Tatooine to Darth Vader. It would be after this that the 501st would be absorbed into the Stormtrooper Corps, and the new armor and gear would be given to them. Now no longer officially clone troopers of the Army of the Republic, but Imperial Stormtroopers. Nonetheless though, they remained Vader's fist. But anyway, friends and students of the Force, what did you think about the first major excursions of the 501st and Darth Vader? What are your thoughts on the clone battalion following the events of Order 66 and the rise of the Empire? And what other questions would you like to see answered? Questions about Republic affairs, the Imperial transition, or Darth Vader himself? Comment down below any video ideas or explanations you would like to see. And as always, students of the Force, may the Force be with you.